Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we're going to do a overview and review over the CompTIA SecurityX exam and certification. Because I just recently passed this exam and earned the SecurityX certification because I needed to renew all of my CompTIA certifications. And this was the easiest and quickest method to accomplish that particular goal. But before we get into it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I post a new video to the channel. Now let's go ahead and dive into this. We are on the CompTIA website here, and we can see that we are on the SecurityX certification. And what is the SecurityX? It says SecurityX is an advanced cybersecurity certification for security architects and security engineers. It proves you have the skills to design, build, and implement secure solutions across complex environments. You'll also show you can support a resilient enterprise while addressing governance, risk, and compliance needs. Now, SecurityX is basically the newer version of the CASP or the CASP Plus. Okay, they renamed the certification to SecurityX, so make sure to take that into consideration. As you can see, this is version 5 of it. Now let's take a look at this overview here. SecurityX version 5 exam objectives summary. It's going to cover quite a few different areas here. The first one is GRC, or governance, risk, and compliance, and that consists of 20% of the exam. It's going to cover different topics here, or different areas inside of GRC: security program documentation, so policies, procedures, standards, guidelines, program management frameworks, configuration management, GRC tools, data governance, risk management, threat modeling, attack surface, compliance strategies, security frameworks. So you have to pretty much know or have knowledge of all of this information here. I'm not a GRC person, but I've dealt with GRC throughout my career. Okay, and they recommended like 10 years of IT experience, overall experience. And I've been doing IT since like 2015 or so for the civilian sector. All right, so I have my hands on various different areas of IT or cybersecurity. So take that into consideration as well. Exactly what this is for. This is not a beginner's or newbie exam. Security architecture, 27%, cloud capabilities, cloud data security, cloud control strategies, network architecture, security boundaries, um, deperimeterization, whatever that is, zero trust concepts here. Now, zero trust, I I will say that I was unfamiliar with that particular area, so I had to spend a little bit extra time in that particular area. Same thing with cloud here. I know of cloud, but I'm not in mess around with cloud stuff all the time. I'm not a cloud engineer or anything like that, but I do have knowledge of cloud and things of that nature. So anything that I did not have as much knowledge in, I spent extra time researching, rewatching the videos, or what have you. Security engineering, 31%. You got automation stuff here, talking about source scripting, things of that nature. IACs, cloud APIs, generative AI. Like I said, generative AI, that's an emerging technology. So, of course, this is going to be on the exam. Vulnerability management, advanced cryptography. Now, PQC is post quantum cryptography. So, make sure you're aware of what's going on there. A bunch of other cryptography related items there. And let's see here. Security operations, 22%. You got the SIM stuff here for monitoring and data analysis, vulnerabilities and attack surface, threat hunting, and incident response, which is my bread and butter. So SOC and incident response is mainly what my experience relies in. So this area, I didn't struggle too much in this area. I will say that. Now, this is a more technical exam as compared to the CISSP or the CISSP, which I have that certification already. I got that back in 2022. Back when I took it, it was more of a not so hands-on keyboard experience. It's not a technical exam. It's more of like a managerial type of exam, right? Where this one focuses more on technical aspects. So you're gonna have some type of hands-on keyboard items here that you need to be aware of, which is why I encourage everyone to have some type of lab at home or maybe a lab in the cloud or something. Make sure you have hands-on keyboard experience before taking this exam. Exam details. This is version 5. Came out December 17th, 2024. So it's very new here. And we're going to get to that here in a second. Since it's new, there's not that much resources to study with. At least I had problems trying to find good sources to use for this exam. Let's see, passing score. It's a pass or fail. There's no scaled score there. That's right. It'll tell you pass or fail. Now, with pass or fail, I thought I initially failed the exam. That's how tough it was for me. But I only had 7 days worth of studying or preparation for this exam. That's how I passed it. Passed the exam in 7 days, right? You get the little printout because it doesn't say if you passed or failed at the end, at least from what I could see. After I finished the exam, I was able to do some type of survey or whatever at the end, but that was it. I didn't see the pass fail, maybe because it would possibly cause a ruckus or something. I'm not sure. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos that you can see here, over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. But anyway, so recommended experience, you got a minimum of 10 years of general hands-on IT experience, including 5 years of hands-on security. So they name other certifications they have: Security Plus, Network Plus, CISA Plus, Cloud Plus, Pentest Plus, or Equipment Knowledge. I have the Security Plus, CISA Plus, and the Pentest Plus. I had to renew these, okay, and which is why I took the CASP Plus. This is the quickest and most efficient way to renew this, renew all my certifications, because they were about to. One of them was about to expire on 10/11, which is tomorrow. And let's see here, exam code, number of questions, maximum of 90. I think I had around 80 to 90 questions on my exam. It's a mixture of multiple choice or multiple guess questions. Performance-based questions. Okay, when it comes to performance-based questions, you might have like a drag and drop. You may have a drop-down menu or drop-down options for your particular instance of the exam. Of course, the exam environment is going to vary by test takers. I think the first 4 or 5 questions I had were performance-based questions. Now, I did take a look at those initially, and I didn't spend too much time on them. I flagged them to review later on because I don't want to spend too much time, because obviously you only have a maximum of 165 minutes. Now, when I did finish the exam, I had about a little less than an hour left on my timer, so about maybe 40 to 50 minutes left to go back and double check things. Last few minutes going back and reviewing those performance-based questions because I wanted to try to do um, my best on those as I can. And it has some other stuff here, as mentioned. Let's see here. Now, I did come across a YouTube video talking about the CecurityX exam. That person said something about having a Linux VM or Linux virtual environment, and they had to do something on that. So you may come across that on this exam, you may not. Maybe it'll vary, but I would just say be familiar with Linux. Know your way around Linux, at least at a basic level, knowing how to look for items in there. Maybe you'll have some type of I don't know, objectives to look for suspicious activity or something like that. So knowing how to properly look for suspicious activity on Linux boxes. What are you going? What kind of commands can you do in regards to that? Maybe look at suspicious processes, look at cron jobs, services running, user counts, and then not only that, maybe having to respond to that. Just like in the real world, if you come across suspicious activity on the system, well, you're going to need to, possibly contain that box or that system, and then try to kick the attacker out of the system or evict the attacker out of the system. Now, how do you do that? Well, you can probably have to kill a process or something, or kill a particular network connection. So know how to do the things at that level, right? What commands can you do on a Linux box to conduct that activity? Skills learned just goes over, you're going to learn a plethora of different skills and knowledge, right? So design, implement, and integrate secure solutions across complex environments, use automation, monitoring, detection, apply security practices to cloud on-premise, utilize cryptographic technologies, implement governance, risk and compliance management, validate advanced hands-on skills and architecture, yada, yada, yada. Right? Like I said, this is very, very intuitive exam. A lot of areas that is covered in this exam, and you need to be knowledgeable of all of these. I think I had missed at least, I don't know, maybe 17 or something. I'm not sure. Because it didn't tell you how many questions you missed. When you get that printout, you missed one or more questions in these particular areas on there. Okay, so make sure you take that into consideration there. And let's see, buy now. Basically, the exam price is, oh, well, there's 10% off here. I did use a 10% off code for my voucher. I got this voucher here, voucher plus retake, because if I had failed it, I didn't want to spend another $529 getting a new voucher. I just don't want to do that. And I was on time crunch anyway because my other certifications were about to expire. So I went ahead and just did this 578, and then I had that 10% off code. So basically, it covered like the cost anyway, or the difference between these two. So do what works best for you. If you think you're confident, you can pass it in one go. Go ahead and get the SecurityX voucher. I passed it in one go. All right. but just in case I didn't, I had that free retake voucher assistance there. Learning products here, I guess these are trainings from CompTIA, and you can see they're pretty pricey here. You got labs, practice, exams, stuff like that. There's not that many options out there outside of CompTIA from what I can find on the internet of how to study for this particular exam. Career path here, I guess different jobs that you can use the certification for or apply for or whatever. So penetration testing, cybersecurity engineer, manager, architect, yada, yada, yada. Let's see what's under resources. Okay. But anyway, like I said, this is a rebrand of the CASP Plus exam. So if you do pass this and put it on the resume, I'll recommend having the Security X on there. And then in parentheses, I would just notate CASP Plus on there because this is still popular on job postings, whereas this is relatively new. It's probably not going to be as on many job postings right now. Okay. So make sure to take those into considerations here. Basically know your stuff. Okay. I've been in this game since 2015. Like I said, I already had a bunch of knowledge and skills and experience in regards to this exam before I took it. Okay, exam environment is going to vary based on different test takers, so take that into consideration as well. And let's see here. The training I did was this video series. At least this was the major one that I took. All right, like I said, I was on the time crunch. I did this in 7 days. After work, on the weekends, I went through and just watched all these videos, right, from freaking A to Z or one to how many's on here? 24 different modules, I guess. I went through all these. I watched it on like 2 times speed, okay, to get through these. This was released 6/6/25, so you can see that I'm being truthful about this about the trainings and resources that you can use for this because it's new, like I said. Now you may get away with using a previous version of the training material or preparation. So the previous version of the CASP, whatever that is, I guess it's 004. You may get away with finding a book on that and then passing an exam. But this was the main resource I used to pass this exam, and this is on LinkedIn Learning. My employer pays for this, so I made use of it. Like, why not? And I did a quick Google search just to show y'all how many resources are out there for this. There's some stuff on Amazon. You can see there's a book here available on Amazon that you can purchase and possibly help you pass this exam. Just throwing some other resources out here you can use. There's a practice test that I used here to use practice tests to see why I was weakened. Like I said, the versions from these exams typically don't change too much. So I went ahead and got this here, and then I did like 2 or 3 practice exams on this. And then I had another book too for a previous version of the CAST Plus, and I did the quizzes for each chapter, and then also did the practice exams in those books as well. Dion has some training as well. I think he is well known in the space, or his company is, and this is $500 here for this training, but this could probably be useful for you. I've heard good things about Dion's training. I've never taken the training myself, but this is just another possible resource you can check out. As you can see, that the resources are limited for preparation. Hopefully, they'll change in the future as this exam gets more traction out there. See exam vouchers as well they have offered here. So they have one here for the Security X, and it says you can get 10% off of there. All right, there's a little information about that. You can get the take two option, so you can get that retake voucher, so you're not spending full price again if you fail this exam. It says exam vouchers are valid for 9 months. Online or in-person exams valid for all published versions of the exam under the certification. Now, in person, this is what I did for my exam, okay, or my experience. Just be cautious of in person because you may go to an exam environment and then you'll have other test takers there too. And sometimes they can be noisy or just make noises and be a distraction. Like when I took this exam, I had a couple test takers in there. One of them was coughing and sneezing and making all kinds of noises and such. Another one was clicking their pen and whatnot. So I would recommend calling the place ahead of time and seeing if they have ear muffs or something like that, ear protection that can tone out that noise or filter out that noise and distractions to help you remain focused on this exam. Um, like I said, I had about 40 to 50 minutes left on my exam, so yeah, there's plenty of time to go through these questions, I believe. And these questions, like I said, it's going to be a variety of different ones. They had noted that multiple choice or multiple guess questions. Sometimes maybe you'll come across a question that has multiple answers on there. Performance-based questions as well. Like I said, I want to reiterate performance-based questions. You can have drop downs, drag and drop, anything of that nature. Maybe they'll give you a diagram and say, hey, um, rearrange these or use this drop down, select the best answer for these particular environments. This is a scenario. Most of these questions are not going to be something like what port does Telnet run on? Okay, they're going to be scenario-based questions, and you need to go through and understand the scenario. So understand the problem, and then knowing how to fix the problem. What's the most logical way to fix this problem? You're going to have, different options to choose from. And I think one of the trainings had recommended that usually if you don't know what the answer could be, you can take a educated guess. So typically it can be the correct answer may be the most descriptive um, answer. So you select that one, maybe you'll be good to go there. Like I said, there's some questions on here that I didn't have very much experience in, like zero trust architecture, the quantum computing stuff, right? And I try to maybe choose the most logical answer in regards to like best practices. So I relied on like NIST and also SANS. So I would be like, what would NIST do, or what would SANS do? How can I approach this particular scenario and problem from a logical perspective and go from there? One of these areas here had talked about like coding or something like that, scripting, things of that nature. So if you're not familiar with that, I would recommend knowing how to analyze code snippets or things of that nature. Um, Phishing stuff here, knowing what a phishing email looks like, training, right? Knowing these different frameworks. Anything you're like weak in, I would recommend doing some further investigation, further research on. Okay, threat modeling stuff, attack surface stuff. Now, like I said, exam environments will vary. So maybe you'll get a question on a code snippet or not. I know that CompTIA likes to put code snippets in some of these exams. They'll give you a code snippet and say, hey, what is this? Is this PowerShell? Is this Python? Okay, what's going on here? Explain what's going on in this code snippet. Okay, so be familiar with that. Like I said, cloud stuff, generative AI. AI is still new out there, but it's an emerging technology. So be aware, things of that nature. And let's see here. I think we were pretty much done with this video. Like I said, there's limited options out here when it comes to studying for this particular exam. But it looks like there's more books out here for the other ones they have. Looks like another SecurityX book here. There's another one up here. So get what works for you. I recommend at least getting one book and reading it from, A to Z, cover to cover, okay? And then doing like a video training on top of that or something. That's what works for me, but do whatever works for you. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video.